But yeah, so we're just doing it's a systems engineering master's program, and a few of us are PhD students.
Okay.
So it's just kind of like an introductory course as far as doing research,
And,
reaching out to
which
people.
school is this in?
The Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually did my master's there in systems engineering. I did my undergrad here at ASU in aerospace.
Oh, okay.
I graduated in 2008.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I just happened to be in town, so I figure why not meet in person instead of talk
so
over
you're
email.
doing your PhD there?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just getting started. This is my first quarter as a
First
PhD
quarter
student.
in the PhD
Yeah.
program.
Mhm.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So just this class
This is in Monterey.
in Monterey, California.
California.
Yeah, it's about an hour south of
Yeah,
San Francisco.
Beautiful
Have you
place.
been up there before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, great campus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm actually a distant student. I work a couple hours south down the coast
I see.
at Port Hueneme, if you're familiar with that area.
Okay.
Kind of between Santa Barbara and Los Angeles, near Malibu in that area.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Very nice. Good for you.
Yeah, so I work for the Navy there. Most of the other classmates are either Navy civilians or
I see.
enlisted
Oh,
or
cool.
officers.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell me what's on your mind.
Yeah, so the course that this project came out of is
Yeah.
it's forecasting technology.
Oh.
So it's how does technology evolve? How can a system engineer, a program manager predict the way technology is going to go in the future? So a lot of it's looking back. I know it's kind of vague and kind of nebulous, right? It's engineering of engineering.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of it's looking back at what brought us to here, what technology shaped
Right.
culture,
Yeah.
and how what paradigm shifts and things like that happened,
Sure.
and how can you apply those lessons into the future, right? And so the topic that was identified for us was self-driving cars in an urban environment, right? And this is, I think a lot of people agree, this is one of the next big things. It's gonna shake up a lot of culture, society. I mean, so much of American life is built around transportation.
You could say that the car, just the
Mhm.
car that exists today, probably had a pretty substantial impact.
Oh, absolutely,
on,
absolutely.
The evolution of cities, the evolution
Mhm.
of society, and our infrastructure, and how we go about our daily lives.
Yeah.
So I think you could say autonomous vehicles may have such a kind of substantial impact.
Definitely.
Right, across many parts of our ecosystem. The question is really what kind of impacts,
Mhm.
right? And we can only speculate. It is hard to really say for sure as to what autonomous vehicles are going to look like.
Yeah.
What their capabilities are truly going to be.
Hmm.
How expensive are they going to be, and what are their operational characteristics,
Hmm.
for us to really be able to predict what the impact is going to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but if you look at technology, I mean, society is generally embracing of technology,
Hmm.
and it's more so than kind of really back in the past. I mean, if you think about 100 years ago, and people were adopting lots of legacy technologies, the stove and the refrigerator and the color TV
Mhm.
and the telephone, right?
Yeah.
You'll kind of see they all were embraced by
Mhm.
society, but generally over a long
Kind of
period
like an
of
iterating
time.
cycle where you buy on a little bit and more
Yeah,
infrastructure
so
gets
it
built up.
It
Mhm.
tended to be a kind of a longer period of time. If you look at the more recent technologies,
Mhm.
which is the smartphone and the personal computer and broadband and the iPad or the tablet technology,
Mhm.
social media, right? You'll notice the adoption curves are actually far steeper.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, far steeper. So the adoption of technology, the pace
Mhm.
of technology adoption has generally been faster, has quickened, okay, compared to what it has been, 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, you can say, well, hey, once autonomous vehicles are here, the adoption is going to be
Mhm.
pretty quick.
Yeah.
But that hasn't happened with Uber and Lyft, despite all that you read.
Yeah.
Okay, Uber and Lyft still account for less than 0.5% of all trips,
Mhm.
unless you go into like Manhattan.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
certain
And
places
suddenly
definitely,
it's,
yeah.
or downtown San Francisco, and suddenly you see a higher percentage.
Mhm.
But across, the United States, Uber and Lyft is a tiny drop
Yeah.
in the bucket and ocean
Mhm.
of transportation. So it really depends.
Yeah.
It depends on how the service evolves, how the technology evolves,
Mhm.
how expensive or not expensive it's going to be,
Yeah.
and people tend to be somewhat more cautious when it comes to technology that has serious safety implications.
Mhm.
Okay, your iPhone isn't going to kill you, right? An AV could,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And if you're going to die on the road, people would rather prefer dying of their own accord
Yeah.
rather than dying feeling completely helpless
Mhm.
in a rogue autonomous vehicle
Yeah.
where they have absolutely no sense of control.
Mhm.
Okay? And so, how many people will get on an autonomous airplane? Probably zero.
Well, in a lot of ways, planes are mostly autonomous, and
Yeah,
people
but if
do
I
still
remove
trust
the
them.
pilot, you're not going to get on that plane,
Mhm.
right? So indeed,
Yeah.
everybody understands it's all autopilot for 95% of the flight,
Mhm.
right? But for that 5%, I want a human pilot.
Yeah.
And then if something were to go wrong in that 95%, I'd like to know that there is a human who's going to try
Yeah.
and save the plane,
Mhm.
right? Rather than all of us just doomed, right?
Mhm.
And out of control. So when there's that kind of things at stake,
Yeah.
right? People tend to be more cautious.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I've realized that people
So,
tend to be bad at risk analysis in general.
in general,
People are
exactly.
comfortable texting while driving, despite that
Yes.
being dramatically more dangerous than, say,
Yeah,
getting behind the wheel of a
exactly.
self-driving Uber.
Because they feel like they're in control,
Mhm.
right? It's a feeling of control.
Yeah.
Okay. And humans by nature
Mhm.
like to be in control. Of course, some are more control freaks than others.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
But in general, people like to have a sense of control, a sense of controlling their own destiny,
Mhm.
and that is a powerful human aspect
Yeah.
that affects how people view and adopt technology.
Mhm.
And so I think the jury's out really.
Yeah.
Whether it's going to take 20 years, 30 years, 40 years for autonomous technology to become very widespread
Mhm.
in the transportation space.
Well, I think a key interesting word you said was feel. People need to feel in control.
Yes.
And I think maybe a parallel in just autonomous things is like online dating, right? That's something
Yeah.
it's kind of taken the world by storm.
Sure.
But nobody really sees behind the curtain. How does that algorithm pick who
Right,
you're
who you're
matched
go-
with and
right,
whatnot?
yeah, indeed.
And I mean, you have that feeling of control with you swipe left or swipe right.
Yes.
But really, there's not a lot of control there. You're put with who you're put with.
Yeah.
Your pool is your pool.
True.
And so there's really it's all autonomous really
Yeah,
behind the scenes.
yeah.
And so I think that might be maybe the stepping stone or the gateway into self-driving vehicles. If you have
Right.
the perception of control,
Correct.
and 99% of the heavy lifting is done by the
It's done
computer.
exactly. So maybe the perception of control is simply having the ability to take control if you would
Mhm.
like to, or if you don't feel comfortable in a certain situation, or you're able to at least stop the vehicle and pull over to the side if
Yeah.
you would like to. So there's just I think how the technology is developed, put in place, and to what extent it accounts for human desires, preferences, attitudes, and so
Mhm.
on, perceptions. I think is going to be key.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think all of this is going to happen,
Mhm.
whether it's shared shared mobility services and autonomous mobility or automated mobility, whether it's private ownership or purchase, right?
Mhm.
Purchase of life. I think it's all going to happen. It's just a matter of time.
A matter of time, and what factors need to get in place for it to happen.
Exactly. And just how do things evolve in the marketplace?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I think it's still, it'll take time though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think this is a technology that could very well take time to really kind of
become mainstream,
take off, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think the initial adoption will be a bit slow,
mm-hmm.
but once it's proven and once there is proof of concept,
mm-hmm.
right, then I think you'll start seeing an acceleration.
Yeah, because safety's got to be probably critical to this whole thing,
Yes.
and maybe even beyond that, just the perception of
Absolutely.
safety.
Absolutely.
And because I think that's one of the things that autonomous vehicles offer that other concepts don't, is that they can learn, right? You have a system that learns from its mistakes, and it's only going to get better as time passes.
Absolutely. But you don't want the system, but most people wouldn't want the system learning on their...
Yeah, don't learn at my expense.
At their expense, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but there's, I think the word, there's really the sky's the limit, right? You
mm-hmm.
just think about how much autonomous mobility can really enhance people's lives,
mm-hmm.
Especially those who are currently mobility disadvantaged.
Yeah.
Perhaps releasing a lot of people from certain constraints,
mm-hmm.
like you have to pick up your kid at a certain time, at a certain place, and then drop them off at a certain time at a certain place.
Yeah.
Maybe now your autonomous vehicle can do this.
Just go do your pickups for you, go get your groceries, do whatever,
do all kinds of errands for you, and
mm-hmm.
that can be very liberating.
Oh, definitely.
So it can be absolutely liberating. Lots of these driving jobs tend to be a lot of drudgery.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it's not that fun. And again, autonomous mobility might be able to release a workforce currently engaged in this kind of, these jobs, driving-related jobs, delivery-related jobs, that now this workforce can maybe participate in other parts of the economy.
Mm-hmm. So what are your areas of research? I mean, your name popped up in a few publications.
So lots of research really is adoption
mm-hmm.
and adaptation to autonomous vehicles.
So you're talking adapting people to the vehicle, or adapting the vehicle to the people?
How might people adapt their lives
mm-hmm.
once autonomous vehicles become available?
Gotcha.
So how might they use the autonomous vehicles? Will they use it to run errands? Will they use it to shuttle their kids?
mm-hmm.
Will they ride in it themselves? Would they rather privately own an autonomous vehicle, or would they rather have Uber and Lyft have all the autonomous vehicles and they simply purchase on a ride-by-ride basis? If they have an autonomous vehicle of their own, would they put it into an Uber, Lyft,
like a pool service kind of thing?
Revenue generating service
mm-hmm.
when they're not using the vehicle? Okay.
That is interesting, because I use my car an hour a day. That means it sits idle for 23 hours a day.
Yeah, but would you rent your car to strangers?
Maybe. Or forego ownership altogether and use a car as a service for the time I do need it.
So that's a lot of what we're exploring.
Mm-hmm.
What might be the adoption of and adaptation to autonomous vehicles? And so we're not heavily into how does the technology work, how do the sensors work, what's the safety record or safety aspects of these, but we do want to know how much safety people expect to get out of these vehicles. People don't expect them to be perfect. Nothing is perfect, but you can tolerate an occasional computer crash, right? To what degree are people willing to tolerate an autonomous vehicle crash?
Mm-hmm.
Is it 1 in a billion miles or 1 in a million miles?
I think it all depends on the context. People will tolerate a lot if it's framed the right way. I mean, people already give up tons of data from their social media feeds and stuff.
Exactly. So yeah, it depends. So that's a lot of what we're trying to research.
Yeah. Seems like there's a lot of
then-
overlap with system engineering, right?
Yeah, a lot of overlap, and then we're actually trying to take those insights about how people might adopt and adapt to autonomous vehicles and use those insights to really do travel demand forecasting.
Mhm.
So all of our work is about forecasting future travel.
Yeah.
Okay, so how much traffic are you going to have, and how do you plan for that traffic?
Mhm.
Okay, so how many Ubers and Lyfts are you going to have running around? How many autonomous vehicles are you going to have running around? Right, so it's really about forecasting 30, 40 years into the future
Mhm.
as to what the ecosystem is going to look like. And we try to do lots of scenarios, and but that's really what our research is about. It's all about forecasting.
Okay.
Forecasting travel demand.
Forecasting the big picture trends.
Yeah. Well, no, we actually try to get down very nitty gritty.
Okay.
Yeah. So we actually try to do micro simulation. So we try to literally forecast how much traffic you're going to have under different scenarios.
Okay.
Okay. On every link of the roadway.
Oh, wow.
Every link of the roadway. And in that traffic on the link, we actually try to tell you how many are going to be autonomous vehicles,
Mhm.
how many are going to be Uber Lyft vehicles, how many are going to be privately owned, manually driven vehicles,
Mhm.
and then among those vehicles, how many are going to be pickup trucks, SUVs, cars,
Yeah, commercial delivery vehicles.
commercial
Yeah.
vehicles, okay, and then what are the energy and emissions implications?
Okay.
Okay, so we get into all of this.
There's certainly a lot of trade space there. Yeah, especially from that safety perspective, right? If you've got, self-driving cars sharing the roadway with
Yes.
manual vehicles,
Correct.
commuters with commercial vehicles, all that
Yeah.
sort of space.
Yeah, and how will they interact?
Mhm.
Should we have a dedicated lane for autonomous vehicles? What are the implications of that?
Hmm.
So we try to simulate and forecast all of these types of
Wow. Okay.
scenarios and configurations. Yeah. But yeah, no, but forecasting is like a crystal ball. You really don't know until it happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's really about a lot of what we do. We do a lot of surveys. We ask people their opinions, perceptions, attitudes.
Do you do a lot of like computer modeling and stuff too, like
We do
model-based system
tons
engineering
of
kind of stuff?
computer modeling. So lots of forecasting models.
Mhm.
Yeah, but based on transportation principles.
Mhm.
So you can't violate the physics of motion.
Yeah.
Okay, so no two bodies can occupy the same space at the same time,
Mhm.
right? So I mean, you can't violate those physics.
Yeah.
And so a lot of our models are grounded in the physics of transportation.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah,
I don't
very
know
cool.
if I helped you in
No,
any way.
I think this is great. Yeah, the topic for our paper is on the safety aspect specifically.
Oh, the safety aspect.
Yeah, I mean it's all
So what
kind of
about the
nebulous.
What about the safety aspects?
Well, the passenger safety, right, and how that perception of safety will shape the future, right, in adoption and the use
I
and
think
use cases.
Most folks would probably agree that autonomous vehicles will be safer than human-driven vehicles.
Mhm.
But the question is, when will we reach that point
Yeah.
where autonomous vehicles are safer, truly? And even when we reach that point, how much control are people willing to cede to the vehicle? How much control would they like to retain? So I think these are somewhat open questions.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I read some interesting tidbit about just that whole trade space for safety, that it was after 9/11,
Yeah.
people were afraid of flying, so they opted to drive more. And just, mile for mile, driving is much more dangerous than flying, that more people died
Exactly, yeah.
from fear of dying in a plane crash.
Yes,
So, I mean, I'm sure we'll see things like that
Correct.
with the self-driving cars, too, that people might, shy away after a high-profile
but then
incident or
once
something.
it's proven, they might actually embrace it in droves.
Mhm.
But yeah, no. So safety is a big, big factor.
I think that was kind of why we leaned on it as kind of a central pillar.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we have, I think there are folks who are more engaged in the vehicle technology
Mhm.
aspect of it and the safety aspects related to the LiDAR and the radar and the
Yeah.
lasers and the cameras
Mhm.
and the latency, right? The reaction time.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah, I figure taking a step away from the crunchier, what
Correct.
sensors and whatnot, but going into the bigger picture concepts. And yeah, I think perception is a big one, or
Yeah.
traffic modeling, data sharing.
Correct.
Do you work with the other colleges and groups here on campus?
Yeah, we work together all the time. Yeah, we have lots of conversations, lots of collaborations. Absolutely.
So I guess do you have any insight as to what are probably the probable big drivers for safety are going to be? I mean, do you think it's going to be mostly technological, like better lidars and
Mostly
stuff, or
technological.
okay?
It's going to be mostly technological, the safety.
Mhm.
It's also going to be how we might retrofit the infrastructure, maybe to communicate with these vehicles.
Mhm.
That might enhance safety even more. So you have vehicle to infrastructure communications.
Okay.
Yeah, that could be. And then the safety may also rely on, of course, the cybersecurity,
Yeah.
right, to avoid hacking and taking control. And
That seems like a
so-
huge sort of elephant in the room, the cyber
Yeah,
safety.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, it's so many
So there's the
commercial
physical-
devices. Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
It seems like afterthought security,
Correct.
and you don't realize that your blender might get hacked and
Exactly.
shut down your power in your house or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. So there's the physical safety of the driving aspect itself, but there's also the cyber security aspect. And I think, those will be significant determinants of adoption pace. Yeah, I do think so.
Hmm.
Yeah. And,
Yeah, 'cause I know there's been they've been keeping the NHTSA documents for what, like 50 years now? I think it was stood up in the 60s.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to go back past that without, metrics.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least with traditional car safety, there's been a lot of engineering and awareness. I mean, seatbelts, crumple zones, airbags, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you can take all those same lessons learned, put them in an AV,
Correct.
and then some.
Right, with the AV technology.
Mhm.
And I'm sure you're going to keep seeing improvements in that as well.
Yeah.
Right, Tesla already has an autopilot,
Mhm.
okay, but they constantly are trying to improve it,
Yeah.
right? But right now, the Tesla autopilot, strictly speaking, does require a human
Mhm.
attention, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Waymos that are around here, those are completely autonomous, aren't they?
They are, but they're not going to let them loose without a human backup.
Yeah, I've actually never been in a Waymo.
Yeah, so I'm in their program. I'm
Uh-huh.
Waymo Early Rider, and so they are autonomous.
Uh-huh.
They are truly autonomous.
So what? So you just sit in the driver's seat with your hands crossed, kind of
You
thing,
just-
or?
Yeah, but there is a driver there.
Gotcha.
There
Okay.
is a human backup driver
Mhm.
ready to take control if necessary, right? So so the technology hasn't reached a point
Mhm.
where anybody is comfortable just sending an AV,
Yeah.
right, with nobody inside. But I think it's getting there.
Mhm.
Okay, it's getting there with the ability of the Waymos of the world
Mhm.
to monitor the vehicles remotely and take control if necessary.
Okay.
Okay,
That's an interesting wrinkle. I never even thought about
You could have a command
that.
center.
Uh-huh.
You could have a command center, and you could have these hordes of vehicles, right? Autonomous
Mhm.
vehicles taking care of people, taking passengers around. And you could have a command center where you have a group of folks monitoring system performance.
Yeah.
Right?
And if they're only needed 5% of the time, you got 20 vehicles per person, and you're okay.
Yeah, exactly. So now instead of having one driver in every vehicle,
Mhm.
one person in the command center can be monitoring, dozens of vehicles.
Yeah.
Just making sure nothing's going wrong, take control if necessary,
Mhm.
you know.
Is latency a problem with that?
So
I imagine
latency-
pushing lots of data up and pushing lots of data back down
latency
is
a
another
concern
big
with
challenge.
all of this technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
Latency is a concern with all of this, right? And that's where I think 5G and so on, these tera speeds
Yeah.
of 5G, maybe now people are talking about 6G, I don't know. So I think will help us overcome some of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like a huge, maybe game changer right there. Just,
Right, absolutely.
you get in your car and you've got the experts on speed dial if something goes wrong.
Yeah, no, yeah. Or you just have a little panic button or some sort of a button, and as soon as you push it, and they have, the command center giant screens.
They can see
right?
what you see. They can
And
take
all
the wheel.
these
Yeah.
vehicles have cameras, outward-looking cameras, inward-looking cameras.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah, because it seems like there may well be like a valley between where we are now and where we want to be, where you still need to have a driver in the loop. You still need to stay
Correct.
100% aware. You can't be
Yeah.
asleep or drunk or anything else.
That's
So
right.
what's the point if you still got to have,
Yeah.
training wheels and the real deal?
Exactly. So I think the idea is we want to get to that point,
Uh-huh.
but that is a challenging gap
Mm-hmm.
to cross. Okay? So, in other words, I think getting to a point where, the vehicle can drive itself, for the most part,
Mhm.
but we need a human to pay attention.
Yeah.
Okay? That, I think, is a somewhat easier lift than getting to the point where we don't need a human paying attention.
Yeah.
That is a whole nother level, okay, for this technology.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah. Well, very cool.
okay.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for your time. This
Yeah,
is good
thank
stuff.
you.
This is
I'm
all really good.
Very glad that you came home to visit.
Yeah. I got to see family and friends while I'm here.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah. All
Very
right. I'm gonna go ahead
nice.
and stop this.
All right.